If you hear any blood-curdling cries in the background, I promise my neighbors are just playing outside and those are the noises they're making. Hello, my name is Elise, and if you see me like constantly adjusting my posture, that's because I cannot figure out how to sit with good posture on camera. Yeah, just ignore me. So this video is many weeks overdue because I asked on Twitter for some help for this video, and I planned to film the video probably the day after tweeting that tweet, and then it never happened. So yes, getting to this now. If you happen to be one of the people who responded to my tweet and you were wondering what I was gonna do with that tweet, here we are, finally. Oops. So basically in this tweet, I asked everyone to just drop a picture of a book cover. No context, don't say anything, just the picture of the cover. It could be books that you loved, hated, want to read, books that you just think are pretty, anything like that. And in this video, I'm going to be guessing what these books are about just based off of the cover. So first of all, I'm doing this because I feel like it'll be fun and entertaining, but also my inspiration for this is the fact that I am notorious for judging books based off of their covers. I know that is bad. I know I shouldn't do that, but I very, very rarely read the synopsis of any book I want to read. I usually just look at the cover and I'm like, yeah, that looks gorgeous. And I go on Goodreads and I scroll all the way down so I can see what the genres the book is classified as. And then usually I just go from there. It's very rare that I actually take the time to read the little paragraph summary of a book. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I'm lazy or I don't care, but it just usually doesn't happen. So yeah, I feel like regardless of whether these are just books that you all have dropped pictures of or actually books that I've been interested in, either way, this is probably the way I would have gone about reading the books. I would have just guessed what they were about and then seen if I was right or wrong when I actually read the book. So thanks to anyone who did drop a book cover for me. I have way more covers than I was expecting, so I'm only going to go through a few, but they all look awesome. And if you see me looking down, it's because I do have my laptop here with all of the covers. And yeah, so I'm gonna guess the age range of the group, so middle grade, young adults, adults, whatever. I'm gonna guess the genre, which is, whatever, fantasy. Oh my gosh, there's more genres than fantasy. Fantasy, contemporary, historical fiction, whatever, anything like that. And then I'm also gonna guess just a little bit about what it's about, and then I'm gonna check Goodreads and see if I'm right. This is probably gonna go horribly wrong, but guess we'll see. That's the fun of it. Okay, so I've tried to film this multiple times. I've gone through several covers and have just deleted the footage because I don't like it. And the reason why I don't like it is because I'm sitting here staring at the covers and really thinking about it as if I will actually know what the book is about just based off of the cover. Someone tell me to shut up and just say some random thoughts instead of actually trying to think things through. Okay, I'm gonna choose a random cover and I'm actually gonna say something this time. Okay, this one is called Some Choose Darkness, and it kind of looks like a woman who is covered in tissue paper, not gonna lie. I'm gonna assume this is adult fiction because that looks like an adult fiction cover because it kind of looks a little boring, and that's what I assume a lot of adult fiction covers look like. Not always, but I don't know, they just remind me of the covers of books I'd see my mom pick out from the library when I was a kid. I'm gonna assume it is thriller because how thrilling must it be to be covered in tissue paper? And I need to stop trying to actually think I'll know what it's gonna be about. We're gonna make something up. Okay, so this is about a woman. We're gonna name her. I'm gonna name her. Let's name her Ashley. Okay, so Ashley is in a thriller novel, an adult thriller novel, and she was minding her own business. Let's say she was at a fancy party because it kind of looks like she has a choker on her neck, but I can't tell if that's what it is. So she's at a fancy party wearing this pretty choker, and then someone kidnaps her and they wrap her in tissue paper, and she can't escape because she doesn't realize it's tissue paper. Yeah. Okay, Clearly that's not what I actually think it's about, but let's see, because I don't know, because apparently you can't judge books by their covers. I'm gonna look this up on Goodreads, and let's see how right I was. Probably not at all. Okay, so the cover on Goodreads is different. It's this dark blue cover with some scary trees, so I do think it's still thriller. Okay, ooh, at least I was right here. So it is adult fiction, so that's 1 point for me. It is thriller, so that's another point for me. It's classified on Goodreads as mystery, thriller, suspense, so I'm gonna just say that I'm correct there. And then let's see the summary. It says, the truth is easy to miss even when it's right in front of us, blah, 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 forensic reconstructionist, blah, 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 cold case homicides. By piecing together crime scene details others fail to see. Cleaning out her late father's law. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. Cleaning out her late father's law office a week after his burial, she receives a call that plunges her into a decades-old case come to life once more. Okay, it's about 5 Chicago women who went missing. There's a predator nicknamed the Thief. There's no bodies, no clues. And then there's a killer and murder. Okay, so you know what? I feel like, I was kind of making jokes with the whole tissue paper thing, but I was kind of right. It looks like there's some man who is taking women, so I think I get some points for that one, okay? We're off to a good start, except this isn't actually my start since I had so much footage before this that I deleted. So for the second book, this cover is so gorgeous to me. I love the colors. It's called The Cost of Knowing. And underneath the title, it says, the past is only half your story. So my initial thought was that this was a contemporary young adult fiction book. I still want to say that the age group is young adult, but something about the past is only half your story makes me kind of want to guess that it's something more than just contemporary realistic fiction. Okay, I'm gonna go out on a whim and say that it's contemporary with like a little splash of fantasy. I don't know, like magical realism or something. I feel like it can't just be pure realistic fiction contemporary. And let's see, there are 2 figures on the cover, and in the background it kind of almost looks like a skyline with like buildings, but also looks like the heart monitor thingy. All right, let's make up a story. It's about 2 boys and they're in Chicago because it kind of looks like Chicago in the background, except it's definitely not Chicago. But we're gonna pretend it's Chicago. And what else did I say? Oh, it's fantasy. And no, I feel like this is definitely not fantasy. Let's see. The past is only half your story. The past is only half their story. So they're gonna travel to the future and someone is gonna die. That's why we have little heart spiky things. This person on the on the right, really like the haircut, and I like both of their jackets. Okay, so it's gonna be about 2 teenagers and they're traveling to the future to save Chicago and also be fashionable. All right, let's see what... I'm on Goodreads and I think I was right. Okay, I'm like making jokes with the summaries, but it is young adult and I was so right. Oh my gosh, it's contemporary and it also says fantasy and magical realism. How did I get that right? Give me all the credit for getting all 3 of those. I am fantastic. Okay, let's see what it's actually about. Oh my gosh, I was making jokes with the whole being fashionable thing, but it actually looks like I was kind of on the right track. It says it's about a Black teen who has the power to see into the future, whose life turns upside down when he foresees his younger brother's imminent death from the acclaimed author of Slay. Oh, I have heard of Slay. I have not read Slay. You know what? That was actually, for me, like just making jokes and messing around, that was actually pretty close. I'm actually pretty impressed with myself for that one. Forgive me for this next book because I know I'm gonna come up with some garbage, but it's called Night Theater, and I'm gonna guess it's adult fiction. I don't read a lot of adult fiction, so most of the covers that I do recognize come from young adult fiction, so assuming this is adult fiction. And with the cover, I kind of want to say it's both historical fiction and fantasy, like little elements of fantasy. So I'm going to say fantasy, historical fiction. And then for the summary, that's a really great question. I see two birds and it's called Night Theater. Okay, it's gonna be about two birds and they love theater. Clearly they can talk, they can speak English. And well, maybe not speak English. They can speak some kind of human language. How am I supposed to know if it's English? So they can speak a human language and they do theater, except they don't want any humans to know that they are really into theater. So they only practice at night, and it's just the two of them. They are the only two birds who are theater birds, and they put on little performances for each other. That sounds weird. They put on like theater performances for each other, and then one day they don't agree with who gets the lead role for their theater performance, because as you can see on the cover, we have bird number one grabbing onto the foot of bird number two. So it's gonna be a fight to the death because they are arguing over the main role for this play. And it's fantasy also because they're talking, and it's historical fiction because let's say it takes place in the 1700s. Okay, so I got part of it correct looking at Goodreads right now. It says that it is fantasy / magical realism, so I got that right. But it also says it's literary fiction, horror, and it's also marked as cultural. So it comes from an Indian author, it looks like. I did get adult fiction right, but it says it's contemporary, not historical fiction, so only halfway right for that one. Wow, this book looks a lot more intense and detailed and complex than the baby books I usually read. No, I should not step on young adult like that. But yeah, it's about a surgeon who flees a scandal in the city and accepts a job at a village clinic. And then his outlook on life changes one night when a teacher, his pregnant wife, and their young son appeared. Killed in a violent robbery, they tell the surgeon that they have been offered a second chance at living if the surgeon can mend their wounds before sunrise. So it does take place during night. I got that right. There are no talking birds who are fighting over roles in a play, but it sounds very interesting, although someone's gonna have to write my version too at some point. Ooh, this cover is really pretty and I have not seen it before. It's called Rogue Princess. And I love the illustration on here. It says in the corner, a tale of love and duty. I feel like this could be either young adult or adult, but I kind of want to guess it's young adult. I'm not really sure why. Well, I'm just gonna say young adult. So it's young adult, and I'm gonna say it is fantasy, because it looks like there's clouds in the cover and this person is just kind of floating on the clouds. Okay, so young adult fantasy. And let's see, it's about a princess and it's a tale of love and duty, clearly. So this princess here is going to fall in love, except she also has a duty. And as you can see on the cover, it looks like there's many clouds and like a little arch thing. Okay, the princess's duty is to protect the clouds, and she kind of floats around in the clouds and she walks on the clouds because she can do that. And she's a very gorgeous dress, lovely hairstyle. But her love interest is on the ground. He is a ground dweller and she is the princess of the sky. And now they have a forbidden romance because she's supposed to be, you know, doing her duty and protecting the clouds. And now there's some person on the floor like, yo, what up? Pay attention to me. And that's distracting her from her duty as princess of the clouds. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is young adults, and it looks like a lot of people classify it as fantasy, but also a lot of people classified it as science fiction, so I guess that kind of works for me. It does say right there in the synopsis that it is sci-fi YA, so oops. But also I feel like sci-fi and fantasy are kind of swapped in for one another. I know they're different genres, don't come at me for that. But yeah, so there's that. And then it says it is a retelling of Cinderella. I definitely did not guess that. So it says right here that the princess's duty is to choose a prince to marry in order to secure an alliance and save her failing planet. Yet she secretly dreams of true love and feels there must be a better way. Determined to chart her own course, she steals a spaceship to avoid the marriage, only to discover a handsome stowaway. Well, oh, it says the love interest never expected to be kidnapped by a runaway princess. I mean, I was kind of right up in the clouds, you know? Yeah, but that's pretty much it. I definitely didn't think that this was a retelling of a fairy tale, and I wasn't guessing any spaceships, but yeah, it's a pretty cover. I really like it. Ooh, this next one I've heard of, but I don't know what it's about. It's Hollowpox, and I'm pretty sure it is middle grade. I just know that from talking to other people, but it also just looks like a middle grade cover to me. And according to this specific cover I was sent, this is the third book in the series. Let's see. Okay, so it's middle grade. It has to be fantasy. I can't imagine it being anything else. And I see a girl who is apparently very tiny because there are animals surrounding her, and the animals are not true to size in this current world of ours, so yes. And she's all sparkly and glowing, and behind her there's a sparkly glowy cat. So I'm gonna say it's about a girl. She gives off some Wednesday Addams vibes. She has a very kind of angry looking cat, but also I feel like that kind of cat just looks angry in general. Okay, so Wednesday and her cat, what should we name her cat? We'll name it Happy. So Wednesday and Happy are minding their own business one day, but then they have to save the world from an evil zoo. And in order to save the world from an evil zoo, Wednesday has to shrink down because otherwise she will be too powerful. Yes. Okay, so on Goodreads, it does say it is fantasy and middle grade. So I got that right. And let's see. It's about a girl and her friends. They've survived their first year as proud scholars of the elite wondrous society. And it looks like they defeated some evil things. And the new exciting challenge is to master the mysterious wretched arts and control the power that threatens to consume her. But a strange and frightening illness has taken over the place, and there's victims, panic spreading, fear. Okay, so there's no evil zoos, but I did get the fantasy part right. This next one is called Today, Tonight, Tomorrow. I've definitely seen this cover on my Twitter feed before. I'm just gonna assume that it's a regular young adult contemporary book because this just gives off YA contemporary vibes to me. And you see two different people. I'm gonna assume it's the same two people in every shot or every little picture. And very slowly they're getting closer to each other on a bench. So I'm gonna assume it's a It's a contemporary YA romance, and it's about two people. We're gonna name them Liam and Jonah. Yeah, and Liam and Jonah, once upon a time, they're both really tired and they want to sit on a bench, okay? But they're strangers, and it's kind of weird to just sit really close to a stranger because you want your own personal bubble, you know? So they're both respectful of each other's space, and they sit far apart. But then slowly, every single day, they get really tired and need to sit on the bench, so they get to know each other and talk to each other. And then very slowly, they sit closer and closer to each other until, what did I name her? Joanna? We're gonna name her Joanna instead, whatever I said before. And then Joanna has decided to pop the bubble of personal space and put her legs all over Liam once they graduate. And they fall in love, of course, because it's a romance book. I know my young adult contemporaries, okay? This is a young adult contemporary romance, like I said. And let's see what it's actually about. So it's a unforgettable romantic comedy about two rival overachievers whose relationship completely transforms over the course of 24 hours. All right, I wish I got that 24 hours thing with the whole today, tonight, tomorrow, because I feel like that is definitely a YA thing, or at least a book thing to take place over the course of one day. But oops. And it says today she hates him, tonight she puts up with him, tomorrow maybe she's already fallen for him. And it looks like it's about their last day of senior year, and the guy is not named Liam, his name is Neil, and he's named valedictorian. And yeah, I didn't get that right, but maybe I'll read this book, who knows? This is my favorite genre. I keep seeing this cover. If you hear a bunch of sirens, just pretend you don't. Listen to me instead, I'm more exciting. I'm kidding. I'm sure whatever's happening outside is more exciting. Anyway, this next cover I've seen quite a few times. It's called Last Night at the Telegraph Club, and I literally have no idea what this is about, even though I've seen it quite a few times. Let's see. Let's look at the cover. So, the author's name, I kind of recognize that name, but I do not know what the book I know of by this author is. So yes, looking at the cover, it looks like it takes place at like a nighttime kind of setting. I'm gonna guess it's adult fiction, and I don't know. I want to say it's make a decision. Sci-fi. No, this is not sci-fi. Realistic fiction. I want to say historical fiction. I don't know why. I'm just going to say historical fiction and go with it. And in the corner, I see two little peoples. And I want to say this is a sapphic book. So I'm going to guess also that this is romance. Two women fall in love at night because they both what did they do? They both can't sleep because it's nighttime, and they're like, what if I put on a full outfit and roam the streets and hope for the best? And this is what they come up with. Yeah, that's all I got. Okay, clearly I didn't try too hard on that one because I just was kind of lost, but I really wanted to look up what this book was about because, again, I keep seeing it. Okay, so I see historical fiction. Did I say historical fiction? No, I definitely didn't say historical fiction. Oh, it's historical. Well, I see historical and contemporary. Make up your mind. And it's young adults. Oh, I didn't know it was young adults. Boo, I'm usually up to date on my young adult books. Okay, so I got that wrong. It is shelved as LGBT, so I got that right. And it says I got romance right, but I see both historical fiction and contemporary, but I see more historical fiction, so it looks like it's historical. And I see that it's also shelved as Asian literature. So, oh, yeah, I should have gotten that. Oops. So this is apparently a gripping story of love and duty set in San Francisco's Chinatown during the Red Scare. Oh, I definitely didn't guess that. In America in 1954, it's not a safe place for two girls to fall in love, especially not in Chinatown. Red Scare paranoia threatens everyone, including Chinese Americans like Lily. With deportation looming over her father, despite his hard-won citizenship, Lily and Kath risk everything to let their love see the light of day. Well, I am going to say this is the book cover I did the worst on, but at least I got the sapphic part right, and I think that's about it. And the romance. Ooh, this one's really cool. So this is called You Must Not Miss, and I'm just gonna guess that it's young adults, and I'm gonna say it's fantasy / sci-fi, but leaning more towards fantasy. And let's see. Okay, You Must Not Miss. It's about a woman. No, it's about a teen girl, because I said it was young adults. And what does this young adult do? That's a really good thing to figure out right now. Okay, so this girl on the cover, we're gonna name her, what are we gonna name her? We're gonna name her Isabella. And Isabella must not miss, what must not Isabella miss? Isabella must not miss her hair appointment, because otherwise she will have angry birds that attack her hair. Yeah. Okay, so this is definitely not what I thought it was about. It does say it's young adults, but it says it's contemporary with elements of magical realism. There's some people that say it's fantasy, but I'm assuming that means the magical realism element. Oh my gosh, my brother's playing harmonica. There's many noises in the background of this video. Okay, so in this book, it looks like it's kind of about slut shaming and being a misfit and kind of a family drama. There we go. I kept trying to say family drama. And it looks like the main character's father cheated and her mother is an alcoholic, and yeah, there's no birds involved according to this synopsis. I don't know why there's so many birds on the cover of the book. The next book is called The Space Between Worlds. I've definitely seen this cover. I'm gonna say it's adult sci-fi. I want to say I'm right on that. Also, the harmonica-ing is getting more intense. I don't even know if my camera is picking up on that noise, but it's intense. So I have no idea what this book is about, and the cover I have in front of me is really blurry. It's giving off Star Wars vibes to me. Okay, I'm gonna say it's Star Wars fan fiction, but make it sapphic, and that's all I got. Okay, so it is science fiction. It is adults. Oh, and it also is categorized as LGBT. So I got all of that right. Oh, apparently I knew that because I shelved it myself as sapphic recommendations. But let's see what it's actually about. There's harmonica and loud cars. Wonderful. So it says, an outsider who can travel between worlds discovers a secret that threatens her new home and her fragile place in it. In a stunning sci-fi debut that's both cross-dimensional adventure and a powerful Can you tell I'm not good at reading out loud? That's both a cross-dimensional adventure and a powerful examination of identity, privilege, and belonging. And yeah, I was the kid who would get stressed out when the teacher called on me to read out loud. But yeah, this does not seem like it is Star Wars fan fiction, but it does sound interesting, and that's not really what I thought it was about, just based on what I've seen online. So perhaps I will actually read the book that I have put on my want to read shelf. Okay, this is gonna be my last one, just because I've heard of this author so many times and this specific book. It is Mistborn. This is not the cover I am familiar with, although I'm not very familiar with it in general. I know for a fact that this is adult, and I think it's fantasy, maybe sci-fi, but I want to say fantasy. What is it about? Okay, at the top it says, can an evil that has ruled for 1,000 years be defeated? Okay, I'm gonna guess it's just like a regular fantasy book where someone tries to defeat evil. I don't know. I see some snazzy knife looking things in the person in the on the cover's hands, so maybe some like stabby action where like the person is like, wah, evil, die, something like that. Yeah, stabby of evil. Oh my, there are many books labeled Mistborn. I don't know which one this is. I'm gonna assume it's the first book since there are no other words on the cover besides Mistborn. Well, I mean, there are other words, but like no other title words. This cover on Goodreads is very different than the cover I just looked at. And it does look like it is fantasy and it's adults. Let's see. For 1,000 years, the ash fell and no flowers bloomed. For 1,000 years, oh my gosh, this is like big words. With the best criminal crew ever assembled. What if the hero of prophecy fails? Yeah, this looks like the kind of genre I get afraid of because it's intense. Okay, so that is the end of this video for now because my brother and his harmonica are getting more intense and it's kind of distracting me. But let me know if you enjoyed this video, because if so, I still have quite a few covers that I did not try to guess what they're about. And yeah, I had fun even though this video was low-key a bit difficult to film, mainly because I didn't want to be wrong, because I don't like being wrong, but like this video is created so I would be wrong, if that makes sense. But yeah, let me know what you thought. Thank you again for watching. Bye bye. But also because I'm not having fun.